You got it.
This transmission is coming to you.
Waging war on corruption.
All right, you are go.
It's Alex Jones, coming to you live from the front lines of the InfoWar.
It is Wednesday, 25th day of August, 1 to 10. Wide open phones today on any of the news items I raise. Any questions or comments or points you want to make, you are welcome to join us live on the air, worldwide, blasting out on the AM and FM dial, coast to coast, simulcast on satellite, global shortwave, and the #1 show on the internet worldwide, according to Alexa, Shoutcast, and many other gauges. Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. Thank you for joining us, no matter how you're listening, whether it's watching us on YouTube or PrisonPlanet.tv or on the free iPhone app or the 300,000+ people a day that download the MP3 podcast that is free at Infowars.com. Thank you for joining us. Okay. Incredible new developments on military fronts. Wall Street Journal reports that the Pentagon is weighing a full-scale air war in Yemen. They're already moving into Pakistan, expanding the war in Afghanistan. They have renamed the combat brigades in Iraq. Combat is still going on. Pentagon says they'll be there until at least 2020, another decade. They're putting a private mercenary spy force, secret teams, hit squads, snatch and grab torture squads. The same system being set up in Iraq is being set up in the United States. The exact same control grid, and the Pentagon and MIT have even bragged about this. The face-scanning cameras, the surveillance blimps, the license plate reading cameras, the retina scanning to buy and sell, the retina scanning and biometric scanning to get driver's license, the biometric scanning to make purchases. It's all happening. We're going to be getting into that. Also on the economic front, Morgan Stanley says government default's inevitable. Default on the debt. U.S. new home sales sunk to lowest pace on record. That's new home sales. Existing home sales as low as they've been since 1968. Durable goods orders rose far less than expected. Dow reclaims 10,000 after stocks plunged this morning. Again, Dow faces a bouncy ride to 5,000, says top strategist. Economy caught in depression, not recession. CNBC. Bancor, the name of the global currency that a shocking IMF report is proposing. Again, this is all public now on the IMF's website, the new global currency backed up with your carbon taxes. Continuing, Ron Paul calls for audit of U.S. gold reserves. If you can't get the audit of the private secret of Federal Reserve, look at an audit of the gold reserves. We haven't had one in more than 60 years, and there's a lot of evidence that the gold has been stolen, given to the private banks. Huge news on that front. An incredible story about time to ditch the 20 billion plastic bags. And it goes on to say the government wants to pass laws in England and the U.S. to not let you wash your clothes and to line underwear and clothes with colloidal silver so that there's no infection problem and you'll just have to stink in your clothes. You cannot make this up. I'll be covering that later. Also, Woody Allen says New York too expensive for shooting films, but he's a big socialist that loves big government and taxes. There's a new bagels tax in New York. Literally more than 80+ new taxes passed. It continues with just all these incredible announcements of taxation and regulation. I'll mine back through the economic stack coming up after I get into some of the other news. Now, this is very important what I'm about to cover. And I want to preface it with this statement right now. We reverse engineered in the last 15 years everything that was being covertly built. The private spy networks, the merger of the military, National Guard, local police under CIA control in the fusion centers. It's now all admitted, Washington Post, New York Times, but they say how great it is. The face-scanning cameras, the license plate reading cameras, the control grids, the automatic kill switches being put in all the new cars that the government can just activate, cell phones tracking you in real time, Google being an NSA front. It is now all admitted. There's no more denial. World government, world taxes, unelected, unaccountable, total tyranny. I remember back in 1998, all over the nation in literally thousands of school districts, a multi-billion-dollar program where they would take local police or local sheriff's deputies and deputize them to teach a law enforcement class to 6th, 7th, and 8th graders in a 3-year program. And then they would federally deputize and pay with a grant to multiple officers to be ATF in the school, having the children write dossiers on their parents. I have copies of it in my film, Police State 2: The Takeover, from 2000. Actual school memos, training them to spy on their parents. It says they get access on the recess, access at lunch, turning them into confidential informants. I have local newscasts in Austin and ads on TV saying you get $200 when you turn your parents in. Here's your tattletale card and your identifying number with the children smiling. That's in Road to Tyranny, 2002. This is a full corporate takeover of everything. Auto industry, banking, agriculture. Only mega corporations are allowed to have businesses and operate under this system. This is a total mafia takeover of society. Then in the last decade, I've seen reports out of Chicago, LA, and many other major big cities where entire public schools, if you're in that district, you go to a military academy. And at these military academies, they train them in every news article to take on gun owners, militias, conservatives, libertarians. We were reporting this 12 years ago. We were getting internal memos then. It only caught national attention in 2009 when we got the MIAC and Homeland Security reports stating the same thing from Homeland Security, exposing the Homeland Security operation. So this is 100% confirmed. They've got over 50,000 preachers with a clergy response team. Total tyranny. Trained to teach their flocks that turning in your guns is good, that going to FEMA camps are good, that taking inoculations are good. We posted the hundreds of pages of secret documents. 2 years later, national and local news came out and said, yes, it's great. We're training for martial law. And they showed images from the movie The Siege with Bruce Willis of Americans in a camp. And they said, this is good. The preachers will help put you in the camp. Now, I mean, this is a giant, covert, criminal operation, but it's compartmentalized where even the average police officer or military person, unless they're in intelligence, knows almost nothing about it. They're always given cover stories and cover reasons for what this program is really about, the program that they're involved in. I mean, here's the analogy of that. You're on an ocean liner that holds 3,000 people. They've got them even bigger than that. And there's cooks, and there's maids, and there's security people, and there's folks in the casino, and there's navigators, and there's people in the engine room. They only know their job, and they're only given information about their job. But the captain, he knows exactly what he's doing. He knows where they're going, and he has all the information about what's happening on that ship. And the corporation, based back on the mainland, it has all of the full info about all the ships and everything they're doing. So all I've done in 17 years, 15 years on air, is analyze all their admitted operations and put the pieces together. Then, more and more, the globalists in the CFR, Club of Rome, UN, at the highest management levels, are so arrogant, they've put out hundreds and hundreds that I've seen, there's no doubt thousands, of actual full-spectrum dominance briefings to their highest level minions about the plan. And so we know exactly what it is. So, you're a police officer. You're like a cook on the ship. You're a bureaucrat. You're like somebody in the engine room. You aren't bad. But the captain is very bad, and the company that owns the ship is the devil. If you want to boil it down to what's at the end of the rabbit hole, pure evil, pure eugenics, total full-spectrum dominance to take over the planet, shut off your resources, bankrupt you, end the family, fully change the human species, and exterminate the majority of the population. This is the stated operation. Now, just in the last 48 hours, They have decided to go full-bore public. They have now admitted all over the news, we've got pre-crime systems, it's total quackery, where you're not guilty until proven innocent. You're guilty when you've done nothing wrong. It's going in everywhere. It's already in place. It's in literally hundreds and hundreds of newspapers. They are now making the announcement. And they're making other announcements. Look at this Time Magazine article. The government's new right to track your every move with GPS. It says the government has rights now. You don't have rights. The government has a right. And it goes on to say they can track your cell phone in real time without warrants. They can trespass on your property and put GPS on your car, no warrant. You have no Fourth Amendment. That's their new right. See, the global corporations are lawless, and they write the rules now, and they exempt themselves from all the rules they write for us. Government agents can sneak onto your property in the middle of the night, put a GPS device on the bottom of your car, and keep track of everywhere you go. This doesn't violate your Fourth Amendment rights because you do not have any reasonable expectation of privacy in your own driveway. Your own private property has privacy in all the other court rulings. But see, they're now changing the precedents, the controlling circuit courts. I mean, this is pure treason. Hey, we are allowed to torture. We're allowed to secretly arrest you. 12 states will arrest you if you videotape cops from a half-mile away. They say, oh, it's wiretapping, when the statute doesn't even say that. There's no perception of privacy in public. They're going to videotape you. They're going to come on your property, but you have no rights. That is the bizarre and scary rule that now applies in California and 8 other western states. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit, which covers the vast jurisdiction, recently decided the government can monitor you in this way virtually any time at once with no need for a search warrant. Now, when we come back, nationwide, the military has taken over the public schools. This is hardcore. Stay with us.